Psalms chapter 84 and verse 10. For a day in thy courts is better than 1,000. So one day in the kingdom of heaven is better than 1,000 of your best days on this side, man. Let me repeat that again. One single day in the kingdom of heaven is better than 1,000 of your best days on this side, man. Okay? Where things were better for you. Moments that you can reminisce on and say, yeah, that was a good day. The kingdom of heaven blows it out the park, man. It blows it out the water. Just one day. Not to mention, the Heavenly Father, He's going to stretch out the time. He's going to expand the time so you can enjoy your immortality. You can enjoy your life. And the Lord said in Wisdom of Solomon, He created the Israelite man to be an image of his own eternity, man. We're going to be a likeness of his own eternity, man. We're going to be many most highs, man. We're going to be many most highs. Okay? God's on earth under Yahweh Shemiah Shah.
I have said, ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High.
And also what's going to make us gods? These laws, statutes, commandments, and us judging by the laws, statutes, commandments, but also these laws being in our inward parts, making us those perfect judges. Not to mention, we experience these different reincarnations in this wicked flesh, so we know how to judge the flesh. We know how to judge this body because we've been in this body many times. Okay? But once again, the kingdom of heaven is going to be patterned after the mind of Yahweh Shemiah Shah, man. A righteous paradigm.
Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashum, Yahweh Shah, Bahashum, Kakwadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to us younger brothers. And peace and blessing, salutation to the hopeful elect out there pushing His word in truth and in sincerity across the four winds. In the name of Yahweh, Bahashum, Yahweh Shah, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful elect, the believers, the listeners whom have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh, Bahashum, Yahweh Shah. All right, what I want to get into this evening is dealing with the fall, all right, of the empire of Edom. Okay, because right now, we're living in the age of Esau, Edom, all right, which this is a blessing, that was promised to him, all right, by Isaac, all right, and the thing with Esau's blessing, it was temporal, and that's why when you go into the scriptures, we can constantly read about Esau being put in power and Esau being removed from power, okay, and things are getting, so bad and out of whack, all right, the thrill is going so much in Babylon, regular people can feel it, and I found a compilation, with people just going on these rants about the end of America, all right, people that's not even in tune with prophecy, all right, are going on rants about the end of America, man, showing you how far gone America is and shows you that the Heavenly Father, all right, He is, okay, and that He shows He is by causing His prophecies to come to pass. Okay, and Esau, Edom is just the latest empire that's going to fall, okay, before the kingdom of heaven. He's the last heathen kingdom that will rule, all right, and he's going to have the greatest fall because the Lord has allowed him to reach heights, all right, that no other heathen, okay, has reached, okay. So now we're to the point where this devil is going to fall once and for all, and then the kingdom of Israel is going to be ushered in, all right. So let's go get a few precepts before we get the video that deals with, the fall of America, which ultimately is the fall of the Edomite Empire, because America, has been the powerhouse, okay, the driving force behind Edomite supremacy in the earth. Okay, Revelation 18:1, it says, and after these things, I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lighted with his glory. Okay, and this is Yahweh shot, and it goes into this is an angel, so this is an angel coming with a vision and a prophecy, to give, to John the Revelator. It's in Revelation the 20th chapter. We're speaking of Yahweh Shah, that angel that had the chain, to put, the dragon, in the pit, which is the Roman Empire, but that's a whole another lesson. But this Revelation 18:2, it says that he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and has become the habitation of devils and the hold of every foul spirit and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird, okay, which is a desert. So our forefathers constantly saw visions of the fall of America, man, which is known as Babylon the Great in the scriptures. Okay, America has many code names in the scriptures. Okay, and one of the most prominent is Babylon the Great. Okay, so our forefathers seeing visions of America falling, and being a desert. You see, and when you go into the role that America played in the earth, it said, for all the nations were drunk off the wine of the wrath of her fornication, man, which is idolatry, man. Okay, America has been the hub of idolatry and rebellion against Yahweh Bashem Shai. Okay, this has been the source of anti-Messiah, all right, culture on the earth is here in America, and these nations are influenced. Because what does wine and strong drink do? It influences you. Okay, so America has been this great wicked influence, okay, in the earth. Okay, and it says, and the kings of the earth had committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth have waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies, man. Because America, is the consumer capital of the earth. All right, while these other nations, have become the manufacturers of the earth, well, Americans have become what, the consumers of the earth. All right, so these nations, they bend the knee to America, all right, and Edomite supremacy to partake in the global market, especially the American market, all right, which is a market of consumerism. Okay, so the earth has been influenced, okay, by the wine, by the doctrine of Esau, Edom, okay, in exchange for having access to this global market, okay, which these nations have gotten rich. You see, but the Lord is finna bring this gravy train to an end. All right, and that's why these nations are going to, mourn, the destruction of America. Okay, these merchants are, these big corporations. You see, they're going to mourn these global corporations. All right, they profit greatly off the American market. You see, but America has been such a wicked influence in the earth, man. All right, that's why you go here. The next chapter it tells you, all right, that there's a judgment for the whore. Revelation 19:2 said, for true and righteous are his judgments, for he have judged the great whore. All right. There's a lot of emphasis on America, man, when it comes to the judgment, okay, in the latter times, which did corrupt the earth with her fornication and have avenged the blood of his servants, okay, in her hand. All right, because we know there's going to be martyrs here in the last days, okay, for the testimony of Yahushua. And Yahushua, he's coming to avenge their blood, and he's going to overturn their death penalty and raise up, okay, the elect, all right, to be immortal, man. You see? So when you go from there, all right, because America, has been a mighty superpower, man. So for this place to fall, it's gonna be a marvel in the earth. That's why the scriptures even ask, okay, um, let's go verse 22. Well, I started at 21, and it says go up against the land of Marathon, okay, and this is the Lord putting the spirit on these nations, okay, to make war with the whore. All right. And Yahushua, he's coming back to make war, all right, with the whore and these other nations, man. Okay, there's levels to judgment. You see, so it says, go up against the land of Merathaim, even against it, against the inhabitants of Pecar, waste and utterly destroy after them, said the Lord Yahweh Bashem Shai, and do according to all that I have commanded thee. So these nations are on the marching orders from on high, all right, to come and deal, okay, with the beast, man, deal with America, man, okay, with the whore, all right, which is the whore that sitteth on the beast. Okay, because even other nations that's a part of this beast system are going to turn on the whore. All right, so when you go into this word marathon, all right, when you go into the Hebrew, it's Marathayum. All right, Marathayum, which goes into what, a double rebellion, you know, which is another name for Babylon. All right, and this is speaking of America, man. All right, because this is the most rebellious empire to ever exist. Rebellion to righteousness, man. Okay, that's why it's known as spiritual Sodom and Gomorrah, where our Lord was crucified. Okay, because the ways of righteousness, because Yahweh Shai represents righteousness, man, order. Okay, he represents the will of the Heavenly Father. Well, this society over here in America, all right, well, they X out the will of the Heavenly Father and they set up their own thing. Okay, completely rebellious, all right, society. So you have, all right, double rebellion. But then you go here to the word pequod, which is in the Hebrew is paquad, all right, paquahad, all right, paquahad, which goes into what, a visitation. Okay, so the Lord is getting ready to visit this double rebellion, all right, and the spirit of America is failing. You see, the spirit of America, is low. There's a very low spiritual. All right, the spiritual morale in America is extremely low. People are languishing. Okay, people are depressed. People are miserable, complaining, angry, confused. Okay, because this is the American dream and a transition to a nightmare. Okay, into whence you have people leaving. Okay, people becoming homeless. You see people moving back with their parents, man. This is a complete nightmare, man. And there's about to be a visitation for this rebellion. All right. And even these people that's complaining that, well, this is all judgment. Okay. Because they're still in rebellion. Okay. These same people that's complaining and, making these rants. Well, if you came to them with the scriptures, okay, they will buck up. They will rebel. You see? So the Lord is judging rebellion in the earth, man. And it's starting with, people catching, hell economically. Okay. And eventually it's going to get bloody. Okay. Then eventually it's going to get, all right, nuked. You see? So when you go back, read down some more, okay, because America, like I say, they've been the dominant power in the earth. All right. But what we're hearing now, Jeremiah 15:22 said a sound of battle is in the land and of great destruction. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How is Babylon become a desolation among the nations? Okay, so America, which has been the hammer of the earth, man, a tool used to just pummel, all right, these nations into submission, man, whether militarily or economically. Okay, the elites have used America as a hammer, okay, to hammer these nations. All right, because you can also use a hammer to mold something to your liking, or you can use it to destroy. You see, so the elites, all right, have used America like in a hammer, you know, when ultimately the Lord, we're using America in that fashion. All right, because when it says how is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken, so it's like how is this? Here it is. This was a mighty, you know, power in the earth. How is it cut asunder and broken, man? Well, it's the will of the Lord. All right. The Lord's getting ready to showcase his power in America. See, this is just the beginning. And see, people are crying out now. This is just the beginning. Okay. It says, I have laid a snare for thee, and thou art also taken, O Babylon, and thou wast not aware, thou art found and also caught, because thou hast striven against the Lord. So the Lord is constantly calling out the rebellion of America, man. Okay, and people are wondering why this is happening because of rebellion, and the people complaining you're in rebellion. Okay, because this is a rebellious, satanic, all right, narcissistic society, man, that the Lord hates. Okay, and He hates America more than any landmass in the earth, and that's why it's going to get punished, okay, and destroyed in this fashion. All right, it said the Lord had opened up His armory, which is the nuclear stockpile, man. Okay, those are the Lord's weapons for His purpose, and have brought forth the weapons of His indignation, man. Those weapons are going to express the Lord's anger, all right, in the earth, man, especially here in America. For this is the work of the Lord of hosts. So it's the Lord that's doing this mighty work, man. That's putting the end to this Edomite empire, man, beginning with the complete destruction of America, man. For this is the work of the Lord power of hosts in the land of the Chaldeans. Now, let's go here. I want to get this video, all right? And we should we should rejoice in these heathens complaining, man, especially these Edomites. I got something else I want to do in the morning. These Edomites and these people crying, and we rejoice at it, man. It's good, all right, that you people are suffering, man. Okay, this is so let's play this. It says America is dying, all right, naturally of old age. Okay, because we know they're almost at that 250-year mark. Which will be next July. All right, if we make it to that point. Okay, so hey, we're just gonna see how these things play out. So let's let it play, and we'll jump in when need be.
With very few exceptions, empires last about 250 years, and the United States is right on schedule.
This country will never recover. There is no coming back from this. And that is, in fact, a good thing for us. America needed to implode from the inside because Lord knows there is no one outside of us that will make that shit happen. We had to do it to ourselves. This country has never been good. That was all a lie. It was all propaganda. This country was built on the foundations of racism, genocide, patriarchal systems, and one of the most exploitive economic systems that humans have ever seen in all of our history, and that is capitalism. Our foundations are bad. And this is what resulted from that. It's built into every single facet of our lives. It's built into our education system, our criminal justice system, our healthcare, our laws, our economy, everything that constitutes a daily part of our existence. They have the ingredients for the roots with which this country came from. And there is no making that better. It's like baking a cake with regular flour and then wanting the cake. It's not going to happen. You can't do that. So you scrap the whole cake and you bake a new one with gluten-free flour. It's like cleaning out an infectious wound. If you don't get every last bit of the bad bacteria, it will get reinfected. A tumor, if you don't scrape out every single last cancerous cell, the tumor will regrow. And that is the reason why we keep seeing this shit popping up every single generation. We are fighting the same fucking fights over and over because we have never completely cleaned out the racist, patriarchal, capitalist, genocidal roots that are our foundations in this country. It has to crumble. It has to. And the shitty part about it is how much collateral damage there will be in the process in terms of the people who are harmed by this. But every single one of us is now paying the price for the evil, oppressive systems that our ancestors built this country on. That is their legacy. And so it is our responsibility to be better ancestors to our descendants, to build a system that they don't have to suffer from 100, 200 years from now.
Tired of your current medical software company using outdated technology that doesn't simplify your workflow?
We are watching.
Yeah, she said a few things I want to touch on. All right. Hey, well, she was going in. All right, and it was the spirit that she compared America to a bacteria, you know, which spreads. All right, which America is a plague. Okay, and that's why America has to be completely, and every person in it. America and the people that America has produced is the problem of the earth. Okay, and that's why. Okay, and Howard Shah, he's going to completely, all right, address the problem of the earth. Okay, this is Sirach 10 and 10. All right, says the physician. Who is the physician? Yahweh Shai. Okay, you read that in the book of Matthew, chapter 9, verse 12. Okay, the physician cut it off a long disease, and America has been a long disease in the earth. Okay, ran by Edom, because ultimately Esau, Edom is a disease. You had one Edomite, I think it was Prince Charles, one of them princes, Prince William, one of them niggas, man. All right, them Edomites. But he said if he died, he will like to come back as a disease, you know, so he can help with the overpopulated earth. Okay, I think it was that devil. Let me get it, man. All right. Find this quote. I had it up the other day, but I didn't. Spirit want to come out now. Who said it? Come back. There's a. I think it was a devil. Yeah, Prince. Philip. Let's go. Let's finish this precept. It said the physician cut off a long disease, and he that is today a king, all right, tomorrow shall die. Okay. So this devil who's a king now, all right, but his rulership, okay, is going to end, and then he's going to end. Okay, what a difference did they make? You know, it's a phrase that the priest brother Yah uses. Okay, he had a lesson going into that. What a difference a day makes, because the devil is going to be in the peak of his power in one moment, and then he's going to be all right in captivity in the next moment. But it was this devil here, Prince Philip, all right, the Duke of Edinburgh, famously stated that he would like to be reincarnated as a deadly virus, okay, to help solve the problem of overpopulation. Okay, so with this devil, Prince Philip, said he would like to be reincarnated as a deadly virus, man. And that's all these devils are, man, are a deadly virus to the earth. And Yahweh Shai, their physician, he's coming to cut out that deadly virus, man. Okay, because even you go here, and then we go back to the video. All right. Let me see. Yeah. So you go here, and this is what people don't understand. All right, ain't no fixing America. Ain't no, like the lesson we went into this morning. They're talking about, trying to restart communities. No, you people hate each other. All right, and you people are wicked. The only way, all right, to get things back, okay, in order, is a righteous reset. See, the foundation with your house shot is the chief cornerstone. Okay, and the kingdom is going to be built off of your house shot righteousness. Okay, you can't build on anything with a wicked foundation. Okay, so when you go to Second Ezra 4:28, it says, "But as concerning the things whereof thou askest me, I will tell thee. For the evil is sown, but the destruction thereof is not yet come. If therefore that which is sown be not turned upside down, and if the place where the evil is sown pass not away, then cannot it come that is sown with good." Okay, so this kingdom has to be completely uprooted. All right, nothing of this kingdom, all right, is going to make it past the destruction. It's going to be completely obliterated, man. Okay, none of these government systems and none of these economic systems and none of these school curriculums, none of these things are going to make it past their destruction. All of it's going to be completely turned upside down and rooted out, man, of the earth. Okay, that's the solution. Okay, a hard reset in the earth through war. All right, through a righteous war waged by Yahweh Shai. All right, so let's play this.
Fall of America. And when I first started saying stuff like this months ago, I literally got bullied off of this app for a few months because there's so many people just like calling me crazy and saying I'm like violent. And there are a lot of people specifically who were saying like it's delusional to think that because it's not going to happen overnight. But no one said it was going to happen overnight. We literally have been watching it beginning to happen over the past year. It's taken an entire year to build up to this point, and it's still building up to a breaking point. And the reality is, when it comes to things like revolutions and the downfall of entire empires, there is usually not like a single event that happens that can be pinpointed as the beginning of that revolution. It is usually a series of events over a period of time, which is what is happening. It is going to be a years-long process, but we are watching it. We are in the beginning stages of it. An empire falls every 250 years, and America's hitting 250 years in 2 years, 2026, a year and a half, actually. And by the way, when we say the downfall of America, no one really knows what that's going to look like. No one knows the events that are going to unfold to lead to that. And it
Well, we do. Okay, and that's where we come in at. We know exactly what it looks like. All right, so let's get some more precepts. You see, we know exactly what the end of this place look like and the events leading up to it. So let's go to a few of them. And the Bible's full of, okay, the end of America. Okay, matter of fact, this chapter here, which brother already posted some, but let's start here in Jeremiah 49, okay, and 14. It says, I have heard a rumor from the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Shai, and an ambassador sent unto the heathen, saying, gather ye together and come against her and rise up to the battle. So there's going to be a spirit put on these heathens to go to war with America, man. Rise up against her, okay? And that spirit is in the earth now, all right? You just had, I think you had the military parade with Russia, China, North Korea, all right? Let me see. Military parade with North Korea. I want to say North Korea and Russia and China. Yep. So let's go here. Just look at the headlines real quick. All right. Because, yeah, we know exactly how this plays ends. And we're watching it play out. So just quick headlines. I don't know if y'all can see that or not on the screen, but you got here. All right. Military parade. Leaders of Russia, North Korea, and Iran attend China's military parade. All right. And these are the kings of the East. Okay, so we're seeing what these nations rise up. What do you think they were talking about? Okay, Alabama and Florida State. Okay, what do you think they're talking about at these parades? Okay, and North Korea's Kim crosses into China to meet Xi Putin for Beijing military parade. Okay, you see? Yeah, man. So I think that was a few days ago, yesterday, the day before. Okay, but Yeah, man. So this is prophecy, man. The kings of the east, as the scriptures speak of. Russia, China, Iran, North Korea. All right, ain't getting ready to come across that Euphrates, man. All right, and get active with them with America and them small hats. You see, so yeah, we know how this ends. We're seeing it. Okay, these alliances, these biblical alliances. Okay, so let's go here. Go back to it. Says, for lo, I will make thee small among the heathen and despised among men. Okay, and small goes into insignificant. Okay, so America is becoming insignificant on the global stage. You see, these nations are they have other economic avenues that they use, which the dollar is going to always be relevant. As long as this system is up and going until they completely change the system. Okay, but you do have these nations able to trade and do business and not be so dependent on the dollar. Okay, which making America insignificant. All right, these nations are being armed, by Russia. Okay, you have China, arming nations. Okay, but Russia prophetically is going to be the main one that is a guard to these nations, man. Okay, through military assistance. Okay, it said thy terribleness have deceived thee, and the pride of thy heart, O thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock. Okay, because America has been able to what dominate. Remember, the hammer of the earth. Okay, and it became proud, with the status, that it was given in the earth. Okay, and the military dominance that it has, and see, it has made him proud and deceived. Okay, as if he can never, okay, be matched, man. You know, as if he can never be challenged. You see, it says, "Thou holdest the height of the hill, that thou shouldest make it thy nest as high as the eagle." Okay, and eagle known as what? As an apex predator. It's a proud hunting bird. Okay, and the devil is used to being offensive. And he even has weaponries in space. Okay, because a nest is another name for a place where you store weapons. Okay, and it says, "I will bring thee down from thence," saith the Lord. Also, Edom, okay, shall be a desolation. Everyone that goeth by it shall be astonished and shall hiss at the plagues thereof. Yeah, and this is post nuclear destruction, okay, of America, man. All right, the capital of Edom in the earth, as in the overthrow of Sodom and Gomorrah. Oh, so how was Sodom and Gomorrah destroyed? With fire, completely obliterated, never to be inhabited again. Well, America has that type of destruction coming. We know what the fall of America looks like. Okay, it says, "In the neighbor cities thereof, saith the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Al Shai, no man shall abide there, neither shall the Son of Man dwell in it." So this judgment is going to leave America uninhabited, man. Okay, that's what the fall of America looks like, an uninhabited desert, man. Okay, it says, all right. Therefore, hear the counsel of the Lord that he have taken against Edom. See, this is the counsel in the heavens that the Lord has taken against Edom. And the Lord has revealed this counsel unto us, man, the prophets. Lord will we of that number. Okay, and his purpose is that he have purpose against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their desolation desolate with them, man, and the least of the flock being these small hats, man. Which these small hats are going to be very impulsive, okay, with this conflict with Iran, which is going to draw in, okay, America, all right, on the side of the small hats, and then Russia, China, North Korea, and all these other nations, all right, on the side of Iran, okay. So this is what America downfall looks like, the build up to it, okay. You see, we know exactly what the fall of America looks like. It's just a thing of waiting on these things to happen, all right, to play out. You see? So let's go back. All right.
In 2 years, 2026, a year and a half, actually. And by the way, when we say the downfall of America, no one really knows what that's going to look like. No one knows the events that are going to unfold to lead to that. And it may not be like the entire country just like burns to the ground and crumbles, but America as we know it is not going to exist in the same way, I think, within my lifetime. And I think it's very naive to think that that's not coming eventually. Over the past year, we have seen so many bizarre historical events that we never really thought we would experience in our lifetime. It is going to continue to get more and more bizarre. This is literally just the beginning of the end. This is not to fearmonger. I was never trying to fearmonger when I was warning people for months. I'm actually trying to get people to prepare, even if it's just to mentally prepare for the possibility of that being a reality. It sucks because it's like the videos that I was actually trying to.
You can't prepare. All right. Unless you are the elect of Israel. All right. You can't prepare. All right. You're done. Okay. You can't mentally prepare for what's to come because you don't have a clue of what's to come. All right. You just said you don't know what it looks like. Well, we're telling you what it looks like. Okay. And then the scriptures say what? This is the worst time since the earth was. Okay. And you soft, all right, frail, okay, grill dependent, all right, grill dependent American, you're not ready for this, man. You know? And the difference, between the hopeful elect is we're going to have a higher power intervening on our behalf. Okay? Our rises are, man, we endure and stay in the faith. Okay? You see, but ain't no preparing for what's to come. All right? And this another theme. Everybody's trying to say prepare. How? Okay? You can't meditate on what's about to happen. You don't know. All right? And even if you knew, you're still not ready for it real time. Okay? If you're not of the elect of Israel.
Like share with people how to prepare, the ones that never gained any traction. But it's like I have been talking about building a garden and creating your own food sources and building a community and getting to know your neighbors and preparing in any way possible for the unknown. So if for the past year you've been hearing people saying stuff like this and you've been just like writing it off as madness, please, like, open your eyes, wake the fuck up.
Is the American empire collapsing?
How long before I see results with Tai Chi?
Day 3, you'll feel your energy. Day 7, your eyes will change. Day 28.
Yes, it is. The question, the key question for everyone to be asking themselves, especially those in leadership, is how fast? And then the second question is, how do we arrest it to a certain extent? You can't stop it. It's impossible. But you can arrest it, and you can build a glide slope down which the empire slides, if you will, because there are equals in the world now. China, of course, is one of them. With nuclear weapons, you must say that Russia is one of them. And India comes very close to being one of them. It's a multipolar world now. You can't have a hegemon that is all things to all people 24/7.
The American empire is over. We're done. We peaked about 12, 15 years ago, and we are on a down. And it's very hard for the American people, which I understand. I am one. It's hard to get you on the way up, which is a lot more fun than on the way down. But it does happen to every empire. We're only the latest. Look at the British, how far they've fallen. We're in that process. So the problem with the trickle down is, yeah, there might be more jobs, but they're going to be created in China. They're going to be created in Brazil. They're going to be created in India. They're not created here. We have the greatest level of corporate debt this country has ever seen, off the chart. The greatest level of personal debt, and we have the greatest level of government debt.
God, Jake looking. Damn, with the screwing, my boy. All right, Jake, do not like this shit, though, man. It's over. Okay, and see, people, because America gave this, this fantasy. America gave this fantasy of forever, man. All right, and these people work all their life. This nigga probably, just got he just got his life together. Okay? And then this nigga tell him something like this, man. Okay? This nigga just started, being able he just started being able to afford things, and the nigga tell him something like this, man. Hurt. Okay? So let's just play. I'm gonna skip in a minute.
Our government debt is now trillions of dollars greater than our annual output. That was not the case in the 20th century. It is the case now. What you're seeing is desperation politics. The whole Trump phenomena ought to say to you, wait a minute, these jerky moves that are out of whack, right? In recent days, we have seen the decision of the Trump administration to kiss the war in Ukraine goodbye. We're not doing that no more because we can't afford it. We can't keep funding a war, which, by the way, the West is losing, as anybody who pays attention knows. All of these things are signs.
Oh boy. Damn, y'all miss my nigga Euro, man. Hey, but hey, yeah, if you think hearing about it hurt, wait till these things take effect. You see? So let me jump forward. I don't want to see my boy no more, man. Damn. Richard Wolf giving my boy the business. I think it's here at the end.
Wow, look at this. 94% of people believe company culture is important to an organization.
Rattle your sabers all over the place. You put the Seventh Fleet in the South China Sea isn't going to change that. You've got to come to terms with that, but we are led by people who don't want to do that because nobody wants to be the politician who has to explain to the people it's over.
This be like us is over. This be like us or become like us is over. And that's what the Americans cannot understand. They still believe that they have to lead. The world must be led by the Americans. And the reason they can't see it and they are in denial is that it's going down. Not the US as a state or society, but as an empire. And all empires go down. There's no empire that has existed forever. So you may say the United States today is Titanic. The West is sitting as restaurants in Titanic, and the water is coming up around the windows. Now, instead of then reaching out and say, okay, our time is over, we will be one among many and we will cooperate with you, what they do is they insist on one thing, and that is to dominate deception, untruths, narratives, and secondly, militarism. I would like to predict at this occasion, United States will go the same way as the Soviet Union because it is militarizing itself to death. The Americans don't do diplomacy anymore. They send weapons. They pour in weapons because that's best that. But no country can survive with just being strong in one sense, for instance, militarily. If you become politically weak, you become economically weak, you become psychologically weak, you become weak in terms of international law and legitimacy, then you are on your way down. A strong country is one which has high level on all power indicators and do not over-militarize and neglect the other power scales. The United States has, you can say, a MIMAC, military, industrial, media, academic complex. These are elites who have common interests with each other, such as producing weapons, selling weapons, using weapons, destroying countries, rebuilding countries again. But they do not have any common interest with the people in their countries. They're outside democratic control, and who said that? President Dwight D. Eisenhower in 1961 or 2 or whenever he made his farewell speech. Very famous speech by a man who was a general himself, who said the United States has developed a military industrial complex. He didn't call it MIMAC as I do. And we need to put it under control to remain a democracy. What is undermined very, very clearly now is pluralist open media and our democracy in the West, because everything is now geared to warfare and militarism. More, more, more. There's nobody who stops to think. There's nobody who stops to think about the long-term consequences of pouring in weapons and never solving the conflicts. You just look at what goes on now in Israel. The country that had so much weaponry already, had nuclear weapons, and had a special agreement with weapons with the United States, $5 billion a year, I don't know for how many years. What is the first reaction in Washington? Transfer even more weapons to Israel. This is a sick society. It's a sick way of thinking. And of course, this whole thing has to do with, as I said before, the dream, the unrealistic dream or illusion that if we can get rid of Russia as an opponent, and we have created that opponent ourselves because they have never invaded a NATO country, they hope that they can concentrate all NATO's resources on a Cold War or, God forbid, a hot war against China. You just go to NATO's homepage and you look at the threat perception. NATO is now characterized to be something like a church. You either believe in this nonsense or you don't. There's never an argument on NATO's homepage. The text is, China is a threat or a challenge because China is different from us. China has different interests from us in the West. Now, if that's how you define a threat, everybody around the world basically is a threat. So the whole thing is a military-industrial complex lives from finding enemies, because if you don't have enemies, or say you have enemies, or appoint somebody, or make enemies, you can't legitimate your own arms development, and the military-industrial media academic complex will fall apart. So that's why the moment we get rid of that military-industrial media academic complex, we can begin to talk to each other as human beings. So the long story short here, I think, is that I wouldn't trust them.
So basically what I'm hearing.
Yeah, we'll end the video there. Let's get this real quick, because at the end of the day, it's over with. All right. And these devils, as Yahushua said, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. And Esau was blessed with the sword. And that's all he been on lately. I got some more videos going too as well, dealing with Trump, his latest, dealing with Venezuela, something quick. Maybe I can tap into it tomorrow. But yeah, man, this devil, he's trying to hold on to his empire by the sword, because that's what he was blessed with. All right. And it's the same sword that's going to remove this man from power. This Daniel 7:21, I said, I beheld in the same horn, which is that little horn, America made war with the saints. All right. We was conquered, and taken into captivity. All right. Mainly we're over here in the Americas, and prevailed against them until the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High. And the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. Okay. So now the Lord is raising us up. Yahweh Shema Shah said a time, all right, when we would stand on our feet and begin to prophesy against this devil, okay, and usher in the second coming of Yahweh Shah, okay, which is the righteous, all right, takeover, okay, that's coming to the earth, man, okay, and it's going to begin with the complete obliteration of the whore, which is America, man, okay. So that's the point, just wanted to get into that. I seen that video a little earlier today. So Lord will, all right, you brothers, all right, and you few sisters edified once again. I want to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kakadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards younger brothers, and peace and blessings, salutations, hopefully, shalom.